Welcome into the Cactus Golf Podcast, episode number 64, question mark?
Yes,
64. I was just kidding, I checked. I did the math. It's been a couple weeks, but we got it all right. We're back in business. We had, what was it, a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we had the solo pod, the interview, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Two weeks ago, we had the interview there. We're back to our normal scheduled content. We got a little more than a little news and notes. We got quite a bit of news and notes here a little bit. It all came out today. We were thinking about recording yesterday.
A lot of stuff came out today.
A lot came out today, so I'm glad we waited. Definitely glad we waited to record this Wednesday. This is January 3rd, so the day before the Sentry Tournament of Champions. So a lot of news came out today we're going to go over. We have the Sentry Tournament of Champions preview, and then betting corner. You didn't have anything else on the docket, right? Just some more news and notes, right? Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and dive into it because we do have a lot here. Actually, before we can do it, how was your holidays? Let's go. Let's do some pleasantries here.
Holiday was good. Went home, saw my family, sister got engaged, all that jazz, and it was fine. My parents gave me some cash. I'm trying to figure out what I want to spend it on.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I've been eyeing that Blue Tees player pack a little bit because I lost my rangefinder however long ago and never replaced it, and I was going back and forth with my dad because he was like, just get the GPS speaker, because he got the GPS Bluetooth speaker. So just get that. And I'm like,
I don't know. I don't think I want something talking to me. I want to have it in my hands and see it.
Yeah, it doesn't talk to you. Like,
it doesn't? It just shows it?
Yeah, maybe you can select as an option to have it talk to you, but it just shows on the screen.
I've seen speakers that do talk to you.
Bushnell has that.
Bushnell, that's what it is, yeah.
But, so he was going back and forth, and he roasted me. He was like, I was like, since sometimes, too, like, the front, back, and center is really off, and he was like, off, how much? I'm like, I don't know, like 5 yards. He goes, what is 5 yards going to do when you're not even a good golfer? I'm like, okay, man. Wow, cool. Thanks for that one. So, I don't know.
True, though.
It's fair, honestly. It was a fair argument. It was just hurt in the moment. I'm like, God damn, dude. So, I think I don't know, I'll figure out what I want to do with some cash. But
fair enough.
How was yours? What'd you do?
Yeah, I was home for a few days. Didn't do a whole lot. Just kind of, family. Saw a couple friends. Had the hometown cooking, had my, obviously some home cooked meals, but obviously the go-to restaurants back at home, had to go to those.
What's your go-to restaurant? Like, what is it?
Well, you always got to have Bob's Pizza.
I knew it was a pizza place.
And then there's just like the local Mexican place that we always go to, La Fiesta. So got to have those two, get those two in. Did that. Saw some friends, did a little bit, then came back here. Didn't do a whole lot for New Year's. The thing is, I was telling you before we hopped on, but I didn't go out for New Year's Eve. Actually, New Year's Day we went out because we had a friend got off work at 8 a.m.
Okay.
So we went to out and drank at 8 a.m. So it's kind of like an inverse. I don't know,
New Year's Eve kind of thing there. You're just starting.
Yeah, so I did that. Watched the college football playoff that day, so that was good. Yeah. But nothing crazy eventful this year. Just kind of more low key.
2024, man.
2024. Yeah. It's, I guess going and getting into the golf stuff, it's crazy that we're hopping right in first event, signature event.
Away.
It's kind of crazy. Like, I knew it was a signature event, but it didn't really hit me that, bang, we're getting full, no
right
pun intended, but full swing of things. But we're getting right into the meat of everything here. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So some news and notes. So we had the awards. We had an award come out, I think it was last week. So Jon Rahm. There's a lot of different awards that are all similarly worded, right? Yes. So it's kind of confusing.
Yes.
But Jon Rahm wins the Male Golfer of the Year, voted on by the Golfers Writers of Association of America.
Okay.
So he wins that one. That came out, I think it was a week ago or so. And then Scottie Scheffler today was named, again, January 3rd, today. Scottie Scheffler wins the PGA Tour Player of the Year for the second straight year. Mm-hmm. So he won that. I think it's called the Jack Nicklaus PGA Tour Player of the Year award, I think it is. So won that for a second straight year. Eric Cole wins the PGA Tour Rookie of the Year. So that was kind of over Ludwig Aberg, which, I mean, I know everybody's like, Ludwig's the big name, right? And he was a rookie last year, but he didn't really come on till late this year.
Correct.
Eric Cole definitely had the more season-long accomplishment.
For sure.
So kind of just the timing-wise of when Ludwig kind of came on. He didn't turn pro till I think August or something like that.
Yeah, he had six events maybe through the last half of the season of last year. So yeah, to your point exactly, he didn't have a full true season to actually really get that award.
And I saw there was polls on X that was who do you think should be the Rookie of the Year, and they all were Ludwig by 70%, which I mean you kind of expect that he's already a better household name. But, and he's a cool guy, he's a big tall guy, hits the long ball, so not surprising. But I do think Eric Cole probably should have won it. I'm not too upset about it. I am definitely. This is a Ludwig Aubert podcast. Sorry, it's been a minute. Podcast though. So I had some of those awards come out. That was kind of cool. But yeah, so then also I have some notes on, I mean, obviously Rory, I saw you posted something on our story about, I mean, there were several things that Nuclear Golf posted about that.
It was
like
on 5 or 6 slides of them.
Oh, several. Yeah. He was just, I mean, some really interesting sound bites from his little, it was on a podcast. So if you didn't see it, Rory was on this podcast called Stick to Football, but it's like, it's not American football, right? It was like a soccer podcast right over in Europe. So it's football like soccer for us. So it was dropped some quotes on that podcast, just kind of going over some highlights of it. There was a lot of words on, that were typed up from, long quotes that he had. I was just going to go over some highlights of it. So he softened his stance on the LIV and the players that, left the PGA to go to LIV. Some of the quotes that I thought stood out to me were, he said, quote, "Can't believe the PGA Tour has done so well for so long," just referencing the model that they have.
Yeah.
And he said the LIV has exposed flaws in the current system of golf. And also he said, "I was a little judgmental of the guys who went to LIV, and it was a mistake on my part because I now realize that not everyone is in my position or Tiger's position as far as how much money they have and whatnot."
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I'm a little surprised that he came out and said that. It was just kind of being so open about it.
I'm surprised it just, like, maybe not having a 180 on his stance, but, like, just, like, doing the 180 that quickly.
Yeah.
You'd think, like, maybe a sentence here that he's, like, kind of backtracks a little bit. A month or so later, backtracks even more. But just complete 180 in one day is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like, coming out and saying, like, he fully supports LIV, obviously. Like, he's just more, like, open to people and why they're leaving, essentially, and is not really just hating on them for leaving. We saw him in full swing talking trash about Phil and whatnot. Like, he was very vocal about how his feelings were and about people leaving and how it wasn't really building up the game of golf. But yeah, I mean, it was an interest. I was kind of shocked. I was like, I first read it and I was like, "No, this ain't real.
Yeah.
This ain't real." But it was Nuclear, and I'm like, they've been posting some pretty good stuff, so it's got to be pretty real. And like you mentioned, there's like several sound bites of it, and I'm like, oh my god, the dude just poured his soul out in his podcast.
Crazy.
I wonder if he was planning on it. These guys probably like, oh my god, this is great. Just keep talking. Just keep feeding this guy questions because he just opened up and
so bizarre that it just came out just completely 180 just that quickly. It's so bizarre. So yeah, he also said, obviously spurred on by the whole Jon Rahm thing that just kind of put everything into, even, next gear of how crazy golf has been lately. But he also said, that he's now accepting Jon Rahm should be on the next Ryder Cup team. So that's another kind of 180 stance that he has taken here. Just turned around on that a little bit, which is kind of to be expected, honestly. It's kind of easy to say that Sergio Garcia kind of passed his prime, but not on the Ryder Cup team. Jon Rahm, it's kind of harder to leave him off, of the team than somebody like that.
Yeah.
And then a couple more sound bites here. So he said, "To me, what I would love is for LIV to turn into." I think I took this quote.
I was reading that bullet point.
It doesn't quite make sense.
I was like, I'm not sure.
To me, he wants LIV to turn into what is the IPL of golf. So IPL is like a cricket league over in Europe.
Okay.
And so I'll just quote it here because I'm not well versed in cricket at all. So he says, IPL and cricket, they take 2 months off the calendar. You've got 4 weeks in May and 4 weeks in November, and you do this team stuff, and it's a bit different, a different format. So it sounds familiar, right? Team golf, whatnot. So he says, again, and quote, "If they were to do something like that, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds like fun, because at least you're working within the ecosystem. It's not like the Saudis in football are trying to take over the entire sport, where the Saudis, again, football, soccer, Saudis expose some of the flaws in the structure of professional golf." And so he's saying that, again, we can kind of merge the two, merger with, LIV, PGA, take, part of this calendar. Well, we kind of said this a little last year, not exactly like thought that LIV should have done this, but we kind of talked about how we think there could be more match play events, in part of the calendar, more events, something like that. So something like we talked about, where you can have the normal PGA calendar, maybe condense it a little bit, not as many breaks in between, and then also have like maybe a month full of like just team events or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it would just be more reason, I think, breaking up the calendar like that, I think would bring more fans to watch on TV, watch in person. I definitely think that because I mean it's kind of like the NBA, how the NBA does the in-season tournament this year. Yeah. It was just kind of different. Whether it has staying power is maybe a little different because it was new, so like something new is always gonna be kind of interesting. You're gonna tune in. You got to do it right to have the staying power, but at least initially, you're definitely gonna have a boon of more attention on
it. Baseball does, and it's not as long. Obviously, it's only a week. The baseball does. I think it's a week. They do the All-Star break too,
right?
When they have different.
Oh, I mean, I was talking to my dad about this when I was home too. Like, baseball is the number one thing that needs an in-season tournament. Not to get too off topic, but I mean, that season's so long. They need to break it up.
160 games?
162.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, I mean, again, it's along the same lines. I mean, just change it up a little bit, a little different format. Have definitely reinvigorate. I think some of the players as well. It's something a little different. You get to work again, kind of like the Ryder Cup, where they're working with teams. It's definitely kind of you get more emotion into it. With having that team aspect. So I think that would definitely be good for it.
Well, baseball is this every year the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, I assume. I don't know. I assume it's kind of like the World Cup, like every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
It's definitely not.
Because that was fun too to experience it and watch that. But I don't know.
But yeah, that's all I had. The last thing I have on the Rory thing is again not another quote here, but just how like the way it seemed to me when I was reading those quotes is like, so it seems like Rory was kind of like he did the 180. It seems like because he wants to protect his own image, right? I mean, he's kind of been like this face of the PGA, and they've kind of been using him in the media as like the main their weapon to like go after the live, in the Saudis with, Rory was like their weapon and is like going after him, talking about that because he's a liked guy. But it seemed like he was saying these things. It's almost like he's like doing this 180 because he's been misled, because I think he came out also in a separate segment, not on this podcast, but he came out and said that like the PGA and live were having conversations back in like April. So I think he was just kind of misled by the PGA and the leadership of the PGA about what things were, and he was the leader of the Players Association. I forget what it is.
Yeah, he dropped
the player board. Yeah, he dropped. Yeah. And I think he was just misled. I think. I think he was lied to, and I think they just kind of painted a different picture than what they were telling him. So I think this is kind of why he's doing that, saying like, hey. And he's not saying that he's lied to, but his actions kind of seemed like he was kind of misled by the Jay Monahan and the leadership of the PGA.
For sure, no, that makes sense. I can totally see that being a possibility, and it's just it sucks because he fully believed it and was very vocal and probably lost some fans to it. Probably gained some really diehard PGA fans.
Yeah, if you were already a fan, they really dug their heels in.
But. Yeah, now you have to come out and say stuff like this. Doesn't look so good. But I mean, it doesn't help that they extended their timeline for the PGA. And
it is also better to do it now than to keep waiting to do it, though.
For sure.
I mean, he like I said, it's Liv's exposed some flaws. I mean, whether Liv has staying power after this merger, who knows? But I mean, like he said, when you're wrong, like the best thing you can do is just admit you're wrong rather than just. Keep trying to put your head in the sand, So I think that's a good thing.
I also saw something, too. I don't know if you saw this, but he also mentioned that he's never gotten an offer from Liv.
Yeah, I did see that as well.
I was like, that's interesting. I'm surprised. I mean, I know...
they offered Tiger, supposedly, I guess. So I guess we don't know for sure, maybe, but...
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
You had some more news, right?
Yeah, just a lot of golfers leaving their brands. There was a lot of talk the last few weeks.
No, them leaving their brands, a little bit of both. Brands leaving them.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both. Obviously, there have been a few talk in a few weeks about Tiger Woods was the Hero World Challenge, or the PNC Championship was at the last tournament when Tiger's going to be wearing Nike. They've had a deal for decades now between them two, and we saw Charlie's not even wearing Nike. He was wearing that Grayson, I believe, is the brand name. So that's a lot of stuff that's up in the air right now. I've seen people talk about this, but I don't know if it's like fully out there, but I've seen it all over social media about how Srixon and Cleveland is taking over the rights of Nike Golf. And we talked about that before because we know we buy things from Srixon and Cleveland. They mentioned that before, you're going to have a possibility you're going to have the ability to buy Nike starting in January. And I've seen it all over social media now too.
I haven't seen it.
I have, yeah. People's talking about it, about how that they're essentially Nike is going to be parting ways with Nike Golf, and they're just going to essentially, I don't know if they sold it off or just gave the rights.
Well, they stopped doing the clubs. Was that like 5, 6, something like a decade ago, something like that? I forget what the timeline of that was. But that was a while ago, yeah.
But, there's a lot of big players that are sponsored by Nike.
Probably 5 years ago. They stopped doing the clubs.
You got Rory, you got Scottie, you got Tiger, and then what was Jason Day up until 2 days ago. The first PGA-sponsored ambassador for Melbourne Golf. That's interesting. And I don't like their pair at all. I just don't. Are you a fan of it?
It's just not exactly my style, especially on the golf course. Not my style. Maybe a little more like lifestyle aware. More my style. Some of it, not a lot of it. Similar to like Devereaux, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Devereaux. I don't objectively don't have a strong feeling about it. But it's not exactly my style, even though like if I saw somebody else wearing it, maybe it's their style, and not like I would just.
There's people I see that wear it, and I'm like, they can pull it off,
right?
Because it's a certain person. I feel like, or maybe just because I just don't know them, don't see them before, so it doesn't look weird to me, right? But I don't know. It's not. It's a little bit interesting, some of the stuff, and they do a lot of partnerships with Nike too. They do a lot of collaborations.
Like
a lot of collaborations with a lot of these big brands, which is interesting. Jason Day becomes the first PGA ambassador for Melbourne Golf, and Xander this morning leaves Adidas. So
that was a really interesting one to me because I feel like he's really synonymous with Adidas, in my opinion. You think back to the Adidas guys. I mean, he's somebody I definitely think of with Adidas. However, he wears it, so you would think of that. But I mean, him, Colin. I guess DJ's gone now from Adidas.
They dropped him though, right?
Tyrrell I think they dropped him. Yeah. Tyrrell Hatton's Adidas, I believe. It's definitely. Xander is a top 10 player in the world. So I wonder, did it come out who he's with now?
And see, he just announced it this morning.
We'll definitely find out tomorrow. But
for sure,
we'll definitely know that.
I'm surprised he wouldn't be wearing it today during the Pro-Am.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I haven't seen anything. But
whoever they have must have some kind of plan. They would have some kind of PR team or some kind of tweet. That they would be wanting to promote that. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I know last year we had this time Tom Kim signed up with Nike. He didn't have a apparel partner prior to this tournament last year. He got started with Nike this tournament last year. So I guess a full circle moment there. But yeah, really interesting. Did you have any other guys switching out, or just those for now?
Just those for now that I saw. I did see Patrick Cantlay finally came out wearing his new hat.
Yeah, the new hat. That's right.
I think it's a Children's Hospital. I want to say.
It's the firefighter. It was something firefighters for the Children's Hospital or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then DeWalt's on like one side of his hat, which I might have been already done before. Because was Goldman Sachs dropped?
It was Goldman Sachs was the main. I don't know who was like on the side.
I don't remember who was on the side either, to be honest. But those are the only ones that I saw. This week, in the past few weeks, of players dropping some brands at the beginning of the year, so it's expected. A lot of times, a lot of contracts end at the beginning of the year, but it'll be interesting to see what's going to be going on with Nike, because if more players are going to drop, it's like I said, big names, some big names. Where's Rory doing? What's Scottie doing? So we'll see.
Okay. Well, you ready to get into the preview?
Oh yeah.
Let's get into the Sentry Tournament of Champions preview. So we have defending champion Jon Rahm will, not be participating, unfortunately.
I thought it was the Tournament of Champions.
Tournament of some champions, not the previous one. So it'll be at Kapalua Resort Plantation Course in Kapalua, Hawaii. It's an interesting par 73.
I saw that.
Par 73, 7,596 yards. Signature event, ! In my notes here. Crazy starting off the year with that. So we have 59 players. No cut.
Only a couple of the signature events are going to be no cut.
I think it's 4 if I remember right.
Or I think 4 are cut and the rest are not, or something like that. I don't know, whatever it was.
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
For some reason in my head I'm thinking 4 no cut.
Sure.
Don't quote me on it, but yeah, this is one for sure. 59 players, so the top 50, and then if you won an event last year as well. So top 50 WGR, and if you won an event last year. So that's what we got for the tournament. You got any other notes on it? Yeah, obviously the purse.
Yeah, purse, $20 million purse, some big cash. Scottie Scheffler is listed as a favorite as plus 550, followed by Victor Hovland at plus 1,000. So, speaking of Victor Hovland, that's my pick this week.
Okay.
So, We saw him last at the Hero World Challenge. He placed solo 10th.
He had that amazing final round.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. So, I don't know. He played this course 3 times, done well. I'm excited to see where he finishes this week. It's going to be interesting because he's got a big title to defend this year. So.
Yeah, obviously he stayed in shape, I think, stayed in form over on the DP World Tour a little bit. Obviously played at the Hero World Challenge, so he's, maybe a little more informed than some of the other guys, a little more. I'm sure the other guys obviously been, playing, but, it's hard to replicate that on course in competition, with everyone else for over 4 days. So that's definitely good. My pick here is going to be Matt Fitzpatrick, another player who, again, has stayed in form over on DP World Tour. He played as well on the Hero World Challenge as well, so should be in form, ready to go. And he, a couple of notes on him that I had from a betting corner, but I'll go ahead and shout it out now. So he has 3 top 4 finishes, including a win in his last 7 starts worldwide. Again, mentioning the DP World Tour there. Mm-hmm. He also has one of the best putters in the field here. Only 59 players deep though, but it's going to be a birdie fest. So Cam Smith had the record 2 years ago at 34 under here in 2022. Jon Rahm was 27 under last year when he won. Yeah. So again, in a birdie fest, if you can slightly putt better, slightly better than the rest of the field, he's obviously a great ball striker. That could be what separates him there. In his debut here last year, his first year playing this event, he finished tied for 7th, so had some success here already. His first attempt, so maybe improve upon that 7th finish here with a dub.
I like it. You'll see him in my betting corner a little bit later too. All right, betting corner. Just to recap our standings. Obviously, haven't had a tournament here in a few weeks, but I'm plus 243. You're minus 435. Starting off with a new 2024 season, so we'll see what comes about. We're not really refreshing the clock here. We'll ride this one out till the end of the year, and then we'll restart again beginning of 2025. So
a little more easier to follow with a season-long schedule, yearly calendar. It's a little easier to instead of splitting it up. So you want to? Yeah, I got 5 picks.
I do as well too.
All right, we'll go ahead and get it started.
I am going to go Mr. Canada. Oh, Canada. Corey Connors, top 10, plus 450, 19 units. Last year he finished T18 here. Obviously played pretty well last season. And I'm excited to have him kick it off here in Hawaii and have a good start this year. Just top 10 though.
I almost had Connors in mind. I didn't come around to getting him in my board, but don't hate it. I got my first pick. I'm going with Mr. Adidas man, Colin Morikawa.
Ooh.
Colin Morikawa, top 5, plus 260, 29 units. So if you remember, I believe it was this tournament last year. I don't have my notes, but it was where he had 7-shot lead, right? And then blew it, completely just fell apart on the final day.
Yeah, I believe
Sunday. So he's out for some redemption. He's out for some redemption. Did not have a win last year, I don't believe.
No.
Not a win last year, so top 5, and I think let's get back on track. It's kind of my trend for my picks this week. You'll see, or coming up in the next couple picks. People that didn't win last year. It's time for a bounce back. Let's get it back in shape. Obviously still golfers, had some performances last year, but no dubs. So let's get back on track.
I like it. My next one, like I said, you're going to hear him. Here he is, Matt Fitzpatrick, top 5 finish, plus 400. 20 units. You mentioned already he finished here T7 last year. And, like you mentioned earlier too, number 1 putter on a 59-man field. It's going to be important. So I'm excited to see him ball out. If he wins for you, at least he'll have a top 5 for me too. So.
All right. My next one here, again, player, like I said, that didn't win last year is Jordan Spieth, top 5 though. I'm sticking with the top 5 for Jordan Spieth. That's plus 450. I'm going 20 units on that one. So again, outstanding player, has his ups and downs, of course, but we're hoping for an up this week. Didn't have a win last year. Let's get back to it. And again, 59-man field, so it's a little somewhere a little easier to no cut. So again, like I mentioned, I think in some of those events that were no cut these last few months, you got 4 rounds, talent wins out. I think he's definitely one of the top players in the field, obviously. So I think a top 5 finish there. I like that.
All right. I got Ludwig Aubert as my next one. Top 5 plus 320, 24 units. Obviously played extremely well when his debut in the PGA Tour. And see if he can play the big dogs now. This is where it comes down to. I mean, he's got to show up or show out. I mean, this is what it is right now. So we'll see. I put some money on him, though. So I'm voting in favor of him top 5 finish this week.
Okay. Before I get to my next pick here, I just had an idea. It might be kind of hard to track. Maybe not. But it would be interesting to like have a board other than just like me and you, our board, but like an individual player's board if we're up units or minus units on him, you know? So if we pick, say, Aubert, he loses, you're down however many units you had on him, and I keep that like season long, that'd be interesting. It's like...
So a combination of between both of us putting on someone, right?
You could split it up, both of us, or like you could still split it up between us. Like I'm however many units down on Scheffler, and you're either you don't pick them, so you wouldn't. If you did or didn't, you can keep track either way, or both of us. I don't know.
Both might be a little bit easier, depending on who it is and just who is the overall top player in betting corner.
That'd be kind of interesting to see. We don't have to do it; just a thought that'd be kind of interesting in my head.
Got a big old whiteboard right here.
Yeah. So my next one here, I'll get to it, is Tony Finau. Again, continue that trend of players that did not win last year. I'm going top 5 here, plus 650 on that one, 16 units. So Finau, I mean, I picked him last year. Remember to be like the player of the year, right? He was like, I was like, you're of Finau, right? And it didn't come to fruition really at all. No wins. I can't even remember a significant finish for him. I'm sure he had some top 10s in there, but I can't really remember.
Why did I think he won last year? I'm looking right now. I remember did that whole thing after he won a tournament. He caddied for his son and everything. Was that last year? Or am I totally going crazy? That was 2 years ago.
I don't believe he had a win last year.
Let's see.
Almost positive.
Well, my friend, he had 2 wins last year.
He had 2 wins last year?
That's what it's saying.
Is that a career?
No. Cadence Bank Houston Open. That was in November of 2022, but it was last season, I guess.
Oh, okay, so last season.
And then the Mexico Open at Vedanta.
Was that 2023?
April of 2023.
Okay.
A couple weeks after the Masters.
Okay, so 1 win last year. Well, in 2023, in year 2023, he had 1.
Yeah,
okay.
I get what you're saying.
So just kidding. So he did have 1 last year, but still, 1 win for Tony Finau is not an outstanding year.
No.
I mean, I'm sure he expects more of himself. So
for sure.
Let's get back into it. Again, one more big dog for all these guys. I mean, one more big dog, Jon Rahm, that you don't have to compete with is pretty substantial.
For sure.
So yeah, I like Finau in this spot here for a top 5.
All right, I'm going Max Homa as my 4th pick here. Top 5 plus 280, 20 units. Finished here T3 last year. This is the stint of time when he just started balling out in California, and I'm excited to see if he's going to continue this streak. Is he going to bring back Mr. California again? Is it going to start off now? We'll find out more, but I like him.
Okay.
I like him.
Max Homa. Yeah, good pick. I don't have him here, but my next pick is I'm going triple chance. Going triple chance here. If I had to bet, I bet you have a triple chance coming up. Nope. Okay. Double. Okay, fair enough. Same thing. Yeah. So my triple chance here, I kind of changed it. I had something else. I initially had Xander as a top 5, and then I had a different triple, but I switched it up. I went Colin with my top 5 and put Xander in my triple chance here. So let's see how that turns out. But my triple chance total here is, so I got Xander, Victor Hovland, and Patrick Cantlay. One of those 3 to win. That's plus 330, 25 units on that one.
I like that. I like the last 2, because that's my double chance.
Okay.
Victor Hovland, Patrick Cantlay, double chance, plus 500, 17 units on the 2 of them there. So, but Xander's a good ad too.
Yeah. So there was like the shortest ones. If you went to the triple, I didn't look at the doubles, but I went to the triples. It was like 225 plus 225. That was like Scottie, Xander, Victor, or something like that.
I believe so.
So I mean, it was a little too short. I was looking for a way to get Scottie in. It's just odds are so short.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
That it's just hard to get him in there. I thought about dropping a unit or 2 on his outright.
It's interesting to see that is the case, because you mentioned earlier it's a birdie fest, right? Your putter's got to be on. Scottie's putter is not on. It has not been on. He struggles with his putt.
Oh, I think it was.
So
I can't remember exactly, but I think the stats for the Hero World Challenge were better. But it's also just one event, right?
Correct.
It could be an outlier there. I mean, who knows? I'm sure he spent, the small off season that we have, working on it. Obviously, he's working on all of his game, I'm sure. But, if he can get that going just slightly better than what it was.
Sounds like we're like out recording in a jungle right now. Which is crazy. You hear that?
Yeah, I got that.
That's crazy. We need to soundproof this place.
Yeah, we need to get some thicker walls here, huh?
Oh, man. God, I'm glad to be back recording, but this cough's got to go, dude. This is getting annoying. Jesus.
So that was my triple. You have your double coming up, right?
I decided already, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So you have Victor and Patrick Cantlay. Okay. Yep. So my last one, no surprise, I'm going with my outright. I'm going with Matt Fitzpatrick. I already mentioned, why I went with that pick, but he's at plus 2,200 there. Pretty long. I think his odds being that long, I like that a lot.
That is pretty long.
His odds being that long. I think I don't want to ruin your pick, but I saw what odds he was at, and it's pretty good odds as well.
What's that?
If you're going with Connors outright, I don't know if you are or not, but
Connors, no.
But I'm going plus 2,200 on Fitzpatrick, 10 units on that one.
I like it. That was your last pick of all, man. I'm done.
Oh, that's right. You went first. That's right. Yeah. So I was thinking, I didn't want to spoil it. Yeah, I forgot. I got mixed up there on what turn we were on, but. Connors I saw was like plus 6,000. I thought that was pretty good odds outright for him as well.
Yeah, he was down there pretty deep. I was like, I like to try and find a top 10 with like decent odds, and he was a couple scrolls down to find him on a top 10 finish. So, but it's a signature event. This is the big guys here. So
yeah, and no cut event. So again, like I've mentioned, my thought process. Maybe it hasn't like borne out this way, but it's you think 4 events. The best players in the world are eventually going to have, unless they're just, I guess, having a terrible week altogether, but like over 4 days, you'd think their cream rises to the top.
Correct.
You would think, but I guess it doesn't always work out that way. These are humans. The game's not played on a spreadsheet, so yeah.
No, it's not.
But it's good to be back. We got betting corner back. We haven't had it for a couple weeks now, a few weeks. Even though we had it.
They won't let us bet on kids.
Can't bet on the children apparently. At least not legally.
No,
but they don't know what I do with my money, so it's all right.
Oh Jesus!
But yeah, that's all we got for episode number 64. We'll be back with a review again, another review, our first review of the new 2024 PGA season. We don't have live until the end of the month. Is that right?
February.
I
think at the middle.
Well, it'll be waste management. It's waste management, right?
It is.
Yep, same weekend.
Or no, you're right. It's the week before. It is end of January.
First week of February, because that's when the Super Bowl is. Waste management.
Yeah, but that's they play in Vegas. They play at Mayakoba. Live Mayakoba might be the end of January. Might be right in that one. It's Mayakoba then Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're right. I think end of January is
end of January.
First event.
Second one is the waste management.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll have our first review next week, and then before too long we'll have some live action, waste management action. I was talking to some friends about some tickets, trying to figure out what we're going to do for that. So, getting thick, getting into the thick of it here. Before you even know it, we had no action. Now we're getting in the thick of it already.
I just realized you said tickets. We haven't even bought tickets. I have people flying in for this. I haven't even bought any tickets yet. I just realized that.
We don't got free ones anymore.
Well, got to get onto that one. Yeah. God damn you.
That's all we got this week. Tune in next week.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, share with your friends.
Peace.
See you next week.